friend.
My right honourable friend knows Warrington well. Can I tell him that as well as ambulance response times increasing and having fewer GPs than we had in 2010, we are now seeing one of the last specialisms, spinal services, moved from Warrington to Walton with no public consultation whatsoever. Does he agree with me that this is exactly the result of the government's reorganisation, to which no one seems to be accountable for the decisions, and puts the future of hospitals like Warrington at risk?
My honourable friend is right, I do know Warrington well. And speaking up for my own family who live in Warrington, I will accept the situation where their services are taken away without them having the democratic right to challenge those decisions. But it's what we've seen growing under this Secretary of State. We have the decision on Lewisham, the most outrageous example, where he tried to close a successful A&E that was serving a very deprived part of London without any proper process, and he lost in the High Court. And then we've had a clause brought before the House that tries to close hospitals anywhere. This is what they want to do. They want to kind of ride roughshod over local people, close services where they want to, and we won't let it happen. I give way to my honourable friend before making more progress.
Causes of the A&E crisis that we're experiencing at the moment are deep and structural in the way that the Secretary of State is implying. Why is it, does my honourable friend think, that the number of people waiting outside in ambulances, outside A&Es in London, rose by 66% in 1 month between November and December?
Honourable friend, as is her way, puts her finger on the issue. It isn't those things, is it? I'm going to come on to that right now. But the first request I will make of him today is to publish the research that proves that the 3 top reasons he gave in this House 2 weeks ago are indeed the reasons for the increased demand in A&E, because I don't believe that they are. Maybe they've made a small contribution, but I don't believe they're the real reason. Our analysis of what behind this change is very different from his. So let me introduce a revealing and important fact into this debate, which picks up on my honourable friend's point. Over the last 4 years of the previous government, annual attendances at A&E increased by 60,000. Over the first 4 years of this government, they have increased by 600,000. A dramatic increase, not explained by those long-term structural issues, but by decisions taken by this government. I'll give way to the honourable gentleman.
Member for giving way. Under the previous government, Crawley Accident and Emergency was closed. Will he now commit to the Labour Party increasing funding on the NHS, as this government has done every single year of this Parliament and promises to do for the next?
The last government, it was done in a planned way with measures to increase capacity at neighbouring accident and emergency departments, and they were done for reasons of patient safety. But have a look at West London. Look at what's happening in West London now, where we have plans to close A&Es being railroaded through, and intolerable pressure left on the remaining accident and emergency departments. It's not acceptable, and I think he should challenge his own side of the House on what they are doing. I'll give way to the honourable gentleman. That lady.
I'm grateful to him for giving way. Does he agree that with private health firms now on course to win more than £9 billion of NHS contracts, one of the real problems here is about the fragmentation of the NHS in front of our eyes? Is that a very good reason to oppose further privatisation of the NHS, and will you admit that the process that set in train the privatisation of pension books should never have started?
I've said the market was let in too far, and I changed policy as Health Secretary in 2009, away from what was a version of any willing or qualified provider to NHS preferred provider, and I stand by that, and I would agree with her that the market is simply not the answer to 21st century health and care. And when the Prime Minister stood there about an hour or so ago and said no privatisation on his watch, well, I'm afraid he is not being straight with the public. Services across the country are being put out to open tender. Services are transferring to the private sector. That is their record, and the people of this country know it. I give way to the